Wardrobe for the Bass True Anglers podcast is brought to you by Basco Fishing. High-performance fishing apparel that can be customized to fit your needs. Do you need to showcase your brand? Does your business need apparel? Do you need a tournament jersey? Visit their website at www.bascofishing.com. Well, get those life vests zipped in clips, strap down those rods, and stow away those tackle bags because we are going fishing. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bass True Anglers podcast. I'm your host, Keith Nicewonger, and I hope this episode finds you with 5 for 25 in your live well. But you better not be stuffing weights down the throats of 12-inch bass to make those 25 pounds. Sorry, I'm kind of stuck on this walleye cheating thing. Special thanks to our partners who make this podcast possible. Basco Fishing is the official wardrobe sponsor of the Bass True Anglers podcast. Today, I am wearing the Spongy Splatter SPF 30 hooded sun shirt. Be sure to check out all the colors and all the styles by going to their website, bascofishing.com. Of course, you know by now we are the Western representatives for ducket fishing, pro-driven rods, reels, and baits. You know these guys, the strongest pro staff in all professional bass fishing. It's this professional knowledge that goes into all the pro-driven rods, reels, and baits that Ducket produces. Ducket's building a Western presence, and if you haven't seen it yet, you soon will. New independent dealerships are popping up all the time. Be sure to check out Ducket's lineup of pro-driven rods, reels, and baits by going to their website, ducketfishing.com. Today, we have a ton of tournament fishing news, including Bass Pro Tour star Fred Roumbanis, just off his Black Bass World Championship with Team USA. But first, if you like the content we produce, please hit the subscribe button. Like this video. Leave us a comment or two if you're not scared. Share this podcast with your friends. Share it with your enemies. Share it with people you just want to annoy. But share this video. Go ahead. Hit the subscribe button. I'll wait. Did you get it? All right. Thank you very much. We are building our viewership for this podcast, and of course, your follow means a lot to us. We start with breaking news. Tristan McCormick is the Bass True Anglers podcast Angler of the Year. McCormick had a 4th place finish at the final BASS Central Pro-Am down at Sam Rayburn, and that was also the final event in this year's Bass True Anglers podcast Angler of the Year race. When you take a look at the top 10, it really shows out who the pros are that fish every week. Of course, every organization has their own Angler of the Year, and hats off to you if you win your organization's Angler of the Year award. That's no small feat. But these guys, the guys on this list, on this top 10 list, these guys fish everything. They'll fish an Elite Series event or a BPT event. They'll jump in a Toyota Series or a BASS Open. They fish virtually every weekend, and their performance shows in our top 10 list. Take a look at some of these names. We've already talked about Tristan. What a season. He's scored in 12 events. He fished in a lot more than that, but in our criteria, you have to be in the top 50% of your field. So in the top 50% of his field in 12 of the events he fished this year. He finishes with 849 points. Kenta Kimura, a BASS Elite Series pro, also fished all 9 of the Opens this year. What a tremendous year he had, finishing second. John Soka, he's a National Professional Fishing League pro. At least that's his quote-unquote pro league that he fishes in. But he also jumped in and fished all 9 BASS Opens events this year. Spencer Sheffield, Major League Fishing Pro Circuit Tour angler. He also fished in a lot of the Toyota Series events. He's up there in the top 5. Laker Howell actually led our Bass 2 Anglers podcast Angler of the Year race for most of the season. It was just up until about a month ago when he ran out of events, but he was in the top for almost the entire season. David Gaston, a BASS Open angler, had a very strong season this year. Matt Becker, Major League Fishing Pro Tour angler, is 7th. Dakota Iber is the 2021 Bass 2 Anglers podcast Angler of the Year winner. He finishes in 8th this year. You can see he's moved up to the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour as a result of his great season last year. Josh Butler is 9th. Nick LeBrun is 10th. With the completion of this last BASS Open event, we now know who our newest Elite Series pros will be. At the top of the overall standings, Keith Poche. He was the Angler of the Year for the anglers that fished all 9 events. He is at the top of the standings, and he is a qualifier for the Elite Series. Very interesting to see about what Poche will do. He is also, of course, qualified to fish the Bass Pro Tour next year. Kind of makes you wonder. That should be an interesting thing. Maybe we can look him up and get him on air to talk about this. Coop Gallant, tremendous season, 2nd overall. Cole Sands, 3rd overall. The Southern Opens, we had Brian New at the top. Brian is also an Elite Series pro. So by his finishing the top of the the Southern Opens, that will actually create an extra spot for one of the overall anglers that fished all 9 events. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Bryant Smith, who is a National Professional Fishing League Tour angler, has qualified for the BASS Elite Series. That will be an interesting thing to see what he does next year. I'm sure he'll move into the Elite Series, but will he continue to fish the National Professional Fishing League? That'll be a big question to see. Coop Gallant, a double qualifier as he finished 3rd in the Southern Opens. In the Central Opens, Bradley Hallman requalifies for the BASS Elite Series. I know that's something that Bradley has been on for a long time. He's been wanting to do this, and now he will be back to the BASS Elite Series. Kyle Norsetter finishes 2nd in the Central Opens, and Logan Latuso, on the wings of his win at Rayburn, finishes 3rd in the Central Opens and qualifies for the BASS Elite Series. From the Northern Opens, Alex Weatherall qualifies 1st. From the Northern Opens, Kyoa Fujita qualifies 2nd. He's a Japanese angler. And Keith Poche, another double qualifier, finished 3rd in those standings. Brian Noon, Kenta Kimura are already Elite Series anglers, and there were double qualifications with Poche and Coop Gallant. This allows BASS to go down the list of their overall anglers, and it opens the door for David Gaston and John Sokup, who finished 5th and 6th in the overall standings. So, 12 new pros moving to the Elite Series next year. It's pretty exciting, I think. And it'll be 12 new names to kind of watch and see how they do throughout the season. We have more breaking news from the bass fishing world. The Black Bass World Championships were held at Lake Murray in South Carolina this past week, and the United States proved once again that our anglers are at the top of the pile. Joining us tonight to talk about his experience at this event is Bass Pro Tour star Fred Roumbanis. Fred, welcome back to the Bass 2 Anglers podcast. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for making some time to talk about the Black Bass World Championships with us tonight.
Hey, thank you, Keith. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor.
How many years has there been a Black Bass World Championship?
So I think 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. But there's only been with this group of guys. This is our third event that we've done. COVID kind of knocked out a couple of
Right.
years. So
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we
I
went to
feel,
South Africa. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've interviewed you before about this a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah. So we went to South Africa. I want to say 2017,
Okay.
and then we went to Mexico 2018. So we took a silver medal in South Africa. South Africa won the gold. And then we went to Mexico. We won the gold medal. And then COVID hit. Oh, no, we couldn't do it in 2019 because of the scheduling or something like that. Or they just didn't have one. I don't really remember. And then COVID hit, and they were planning on doing it in South Carolina at Lake Murray for 2 years. And we finally got it here this year. So
All right.
it worked out.
How many countries attended this year?
So we had a record-breaking 25 countries. Yeah. Incredible. I mean,
Okay, so where's some countries that fish for bass that we might not think? I mean, we know about Italy because of Giacomo, and we know
yep.
about Mexico, but and of course Canada. What are some countries we wouldn't know about?
So we've got, South Africa is huge. I mean, you've
Yeah,
got Zimbabwe, Zambia, I think it's Swahili. Yeah, so there's a lot in the Africa, and Australia, obviously.
right,
Said
right.
that. Korea was there,
Oh, wow.
Japan. I mean, Spain, which
Yeah,
I fished a Euro Cup in Spain back in 2005 and 2006, back with Ike and Ellie, long time ago. We did pretty well over there.
yeah.
Portugal is actually going to host next year's
Okay.
World Championship.
It's such a cool thing, now, what kind of boats do these guys fish out of? Because I would imagine traveling is one thing, but traveling with bass boats would be different.
Well, yeah, I really got to hand it out to all the people that a lot of the locals in that area stepped up and were captains for these guys. Some of them came a couple weeks in advance to practice, and these guys let them come out with them and use their boats, and so they all had the same equipment we got. A lot of Phoenix bass boats like I run. All the brands, all the electronics. And so they weren't. I think they had everything they needed.
What kind of format did this event use? Did it use is it a 5 fish limit? I mean, what was it like?
So yes, it's a 5 fish limit, and it's a little confusing because at the end of the day, your weight counts obviously to see where you stand for the day. But what they call points, they call them penalty points, which sounds bad, right? You don't want to have very many penalties. You want to have the least amount of penalty points. So James Watson, my team partner, and we had a great day. We had 1770. So we actually led the entire thing the first day. So we had 1 penalty point. And then I think Anthony Gagliardi and Mark Rose finished second. They got 2 penalty points. And then Scott Martin and Scott Canterbury finished third. So they got 3 points, and then so forth. So we pretty much dominated first, second, third 2 days in a row.
Well, it's kind of like a golf format. Then you
And
want as few points as you can get, right?
Exactly, fewer points. But the next day we went out, James and I caught almost 20 pounds. We had 19.7, I believe, anchored with a 7.5-pound kicker fish.
I saw a picture of that.
It's huge. Yes, this time of the year. I mean, it was awesome. So we got the big bass at the tournament, and caught that thing on a little drop shot, which is awesome and scary at the same time. And yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a fight, but we came in with such a huge weight lead. So in our minds, going to the third day, we catch 10 pounds. We've got this sealed up. Well, it doesn't work that way. So about 11 o'clock the next day, it just dawned on me. Wait, we got 2 points. I don't understand how that works. It's not about. So we started thinking about it. We're like, oh my gosh, we got to catch him. Because if we end up 12th, 15th,
Yeah.
then you got 15 points, and then the 2, so you're at 17.
You get a point you get a point per position each day.
Each day.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
and then that last day, if you fish badly, then that could be a lot of points, and you don't want a lot of points in this game.
We didn't fish as aggressive and hard, and I'm not just saying that because we didn't have a better day, but we did still have a good day. We ended up with almost 14 pounds, which was the fourth biggest bag of that day. So we got 4 points. Our 4 points plus our 2 gave us 6. And then our other team, Anthony Gagliardi and Mark Rose, they finished second all 3 days. So they got 6 points. So we actually tied. And then the tiebreaker came to cumulative weight. And that's where we ultimately won the overall team. But the USA team had such low points in the whole. The gold medal was probably already there after day 2 for the team. But then it was a competition for that individual. Now, we also had the Worlds. See all those trophies back there.
I'm looking at those things.
It's crazy because
amazing.
I didn't even realize we had 2 events going on in one event. You got the Worlds, and then you've got the Americas. And the Americas are Canada, Mexico, Puerto Rico, you know, and all the countries that are within America. So you had 2 tournaments going on. So we double dipped. So like Big Bass won for both of them. That's why I got 2 Big Bass trophies. We got 2 for the individual team for America and the Worlds. And then there's actually 1 more trophy getting shipped to me. So in that, we won 4 gold medals and 6 trophies. It's awesome. And the whole team USA, I mean, really, it's a team effort. I just got lucky and caught that big one. I mean, that's what separated us, you know. But overall, I mean, our whole team did awesome. We had Scott Martin as our team captain, and Scott Canterbury. They fished the first 2 days. Well, we brought in Jacob Wheeler.
Yeah.
So once you sub a team out, you can't go back in. So strategically, we went off of our practices, and we had a pretty dang good practice. So they believed in us, and I've had a pretty good track record at Lake Murray. I mean, I've won there before a couple of times. So it's kind of one of those lakes that I just feel real comfortable fishing. And they let me go ahead and go out the first day, and then we just kept we held our own. So we weren't coming out. And we wanted everybody to play too at the same time. So we just made a deal. Who was ever in the 3rd ranking of our country was going to have to sit out that last day and let Jacob Wheeler and David Dudley come in and close for us. So
very good.
That's how that worked.
A lot of strategery going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy in this.
Yeah.
And we're still learning it, but we obviously had it figured out. I think Scott did an outstanding job. Scott Martin did an outstanding job figuring all that out and placing us where we needed to be. I mean, and then we had our coach, David Fritz. So he's our coach. Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just so fun to hang out with him. And I'll tell you, he came through. His sponsors are right there, near there. And I think it was Portugal came in. The rods never arrived. So he went and had his Berkeley guys bring him rods. And then James Watson called up the Strike King Lose, and they brought rods. So they were taken care of. So, both those companies stepped up big time for the countries in need.
A lot of fun.
It was awesome.
What's the level of bass fishing in other countries? I mean, well, first of all, I mean, Canada and Japan, did their pro anglers come to this event? Yeah.
So, yes, they have quite a few pro anglers. Not like the Johnson brothers did not come. Now they may come.
I was wondering about the Johnson brothers.
But they actually have a qualifying event they have to qualify into. So if those guys aren't available for that event, they may not make it. So, it's just, I think there's a lot more to it in some of these other countries. And it is a huge, huge deal around the globe. Mm-hmm. This FIPS and SIPS, which are it's called FIPSID, and SIPS is basically the international programs that put all this together. And it's huge, 5 million, something like that, huge around the globe. So, yeah.
I was going to ask you what's the level of angling in other countries, but you already mentioned that South Africa won the last time these events took place. What are these other anglers like?
Dude, they're really good. I mean, they watch everything we do. It was cool coming out, hanging out. I tried to hang out with every country I could this week, and they're knowledgeable. When it was over, I told them what I did and stuff, and they were impressed, and I think they understood when I explained to them. Mm-hmm. I can't talk to them what they were doing because it's still off limits for me because I got a major league event there, and that was a different dynamic too. So Scott Martin and Scott Canterbury, they've got a Bassmaster Elite Series here next year, so they could only talk to each other. So when we went out, I could talk to Wheeler, Dudley, Mark Rose, Anthony Gagliardi, and James Watson.
Okay,
That's who we communicate with.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the communication. So
So
you guys could not talk to the BASS guys because of the conflicts.
they would be in big trouble if we would have told them what we were doing.
Okay.
So, for per their rules, we got an exemption on our rules where we could talk amongst our immediate anglers.
Okay.
So it went pretty well for us. It was, I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I'm not trying to brag too much here, but when the first spot I pulled up, 8 casts, I had 3 bites.
Wow.
Patterned it immediately, got lucky, kind of just, and then started running that. So for us, it really just took place pretty quickly. And I think that's where I got to earn the right to be the captain for the 3 days in the deal. But yeah, I mean, it was just there's a lot to it. Normally, we're not going to have a big event. Like if we go to Portugal, we can all talk. And here's the cool thing about it too, is we can get on the phone and call each other during the tournament. So say we caught, once we got to about 14 pounds, we called the other team, check on them, see how they're doing. The team that we're allowed to talk to, and we can help them out, tell them what we were doing.
So you were able to do that in this event, but you could not share that information with the guys who were off limits.
We could not share it with the Scott Martin and Scott Kennedy. The Bassmaster guys, we couldn't call them on that deal.
Right.
So, yeah, so it made it a little
the thin line you guys.
Now they could call us. They could call us and tell us anything, but I mean, we were kind of doing good, so it really didn't matter. It was just frustrating. We want to, reciprocate. You can't do that.
So what was the bite like? I mean, can you share that with us? What you were catching the fish on?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot going on. It fishes a lot like a California lake.
Okay.
And for us, a drop shot was the key deal for what we did. Last
time I was
there,
probably a little Garmin live electronics.
Live scope Garmin. Yeah. Hey, could have done it without Garmin. Right. Now, we did live scope a few, but we also were fishing in the grass with it, so you didn't really see too many of them, but you knew where they were cruising. If you got up and looked and like burned down the bank, you'd see bass swimming around. Water was clear. But if you saw them, it was too late. You weren't going to get them to bite. Right. So the trick was making.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
Yeah. Sure. I did catch a 5.5 on my boom boom swim bait in practice, which was pretty exciting. But I needed a lot of wind for that bite, and it died. It was slick, calm, no wind, and we just had to finesse them. And
so can you actually do you actually know what every one of those trophies stands for that you have behind over your shoulder there? I mean, that's a lot of hardware. The picture I saw you with on Instagram, you had like 4 or 5 medals around your neck and this gigantic cup. A lot of different awards.
Well, so the two gold medals are for the America, winning team, which was James Watson and I. Okay. And then the nationals, which is global. So we got 2 gold medals for every prize we got. We doubled it because we won both.
Oh yeah.
So if it was a different country that wasn't a part of America, they wouldn't have won that. If another country had won, it would have separated. But because we were involved in both being here in the USA, it just So that was the big fish. Got 2 trophies. The winning team, and then the overall winning team for both got us all 2 gold medals. So we all got 2 gold medals minimum.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, wait. Take that back. Yes, we got 2 gold medals minimum, and then the other team's got a silver and a bronze.
Okay.
On the team part. So yeah, we took home a lot of hardware.
and how many years have you been on USA and the Team USA?
2017.
2017.
First year. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, that's pretty exciting stuff, and this is an event that doesn't maybe get the publicity that it should, but it's one that I always like to follow, and we haven't seen it for a while, so it's kind of neat to see that it's back.
It's really growing. I mean, they're doing such a great job around the world with this. We just need a little bit better job here in the U.S.
Well, what's the organization that puts it on?
USA Bass.
USABass.org.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is their website. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Now, shifting to Bass Pro Tour news, you got a chance to participate in that first team event. Don't expect you to tell us the outcome, but had a good time?
I actually haven't fished yet. I haven't competed yet. Mine is about a week away, maybe a little over a week away.
Oh, so, I thought all the teams
were
involved in that first one.
I'm excited. It's gonna be a similar format to what we just did here. We're gonna have headsets on. We're
Yeah.
gonna be talking to each other. We're gonna be able to, if we get on a bite, we can tell it. I can tell you, my partners are Cole Floyd, which he's a
Mhm.
young gun,
Oh
super
yeah.
stud. I mean, he's really made a name for himself
Yes.
quickly. And then the winningest guy of the year, Dustin Connell. So
That's going to be a
I
good,
got
that's a good team to beat right there.
we got a strong team.
Yeah.
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 So
Wow, that's cool stuff. There's also been some talk about format changes for next year. Where do you fall in all that?
I think I might have messed up and missed a survey email while I was gone this week. So I haven't been in the loop on all that, but I think I'll find out. I'm at a media event this week, so we got Major League Fishing coming here, so I'll figure that out. I think they're talking about maybe changing the numbers of bass if it's going to go from unlimited to
Yeah.
what globally we know is 5 fish, right? I mean
Right.
that's where the difference is. I personally, if it was up to me, I would say do 10, just 10 fish limit. I mean, that's just
That
me because when you do 5 fish under this format with the catch roulette, if you only caught 2 that day and you had 5, it's going to be hard to catch up. Now, if it was a 10, you may go catch 10 where the guys might have faltered and you can catch up. You see what I'm saying?
that's
Because
a
they
real
start
that's a real fresh take, Fred. That's when I've talked to several
yeah.
guys. I had Josh Bertram on last week, and we were talking about the same kind of thing. And most of the guys I've talked to, they don't care whether it goes to a limit or whatever. But I have not heard anybody say go to a 10 fish limit because that would extend it a little bit. It would force you to.
Yeah, and as it is right now, unlimited, you're never out of it. You
Right.
could zero one day,
Yeah.
completely adjust, do something totally off the wall, whatever it is, 180, and go out there and catch them really good and catch up. So, because it's unlimited, right? Once
Hmm.
you put a limit on it, yes, you can get to your 5 and cold, but once you get to like 10, 11, 12, you start building that weight, it kind of slows. It's like it slows the process because
Right.
you're cutting those fish down in overall weight. You've got to really
Right.
upgrade every time. So the numbers definitely gives you a chance to catch up.
Well, that's an interesting take on the whole thing, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they finally decide. But speaking of Bass Pros, you're not the only Bass Pro living at your house right now, right? What is going on with your son? He's winning left and right.
So
Is he going to be the
he
next? Is
is,
he the next Laker Howell?
dude. I'll tell you what, he's ate up with it. I mean, he's been at every Bassmaster tournament, Major League tournament growing up as a kid. He's been around all of us. He's had guys like Ott Defoe teach him little tricks,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
these guys that just really took him under his wing. Obviously, he knows what I know. But he entered a kayak tournament. I didn't even know he was getting this kayak. Like I knew he was getting the kayak, but I didn't know he entered a tournament that weekend at Lake Darnell where we fished, and he ended up winning it. And he caught his first bass ever in a kayak the first day of the tournament.
Oh my
So
God.
he got the kayak on a Wednesday. Thursday, I took him out for 2 hours so he could practice around. I went and did some football practice with my other son. Came back, picked him up, said, "Did you catch any fish?" Said, "No, but I learned how to paddle." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I'm like, "You really want to do this tournament thing?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to do it." So I dropped him off at a ramp where it had a lot of variables. Like he could do a lot of things close. I
Yeah.
didn't want him paddling way out in the river or anything like that.
Right.
So I felt safe where I dropped him off. Went and did the football with Avery, and I'm one of the coaches there. So I come back. I'm actually on the football field, and I'm like, he's leading this sucker. It's like, what the heck is going? He ended up third the first day, and then it ended up winning the whole thing. And so now he made a championship. He won $8,000 at 15 years old. I couldn't even imagine that
God,
kind of money at that.
that's
Like
a lot of it's a lot of money for
I don't
15.
know how many summers I worked to get that kind of money, like entire every day.
Right.
so,
Wow.
so, so
Wow.
that, but then 2 days later, we had our awards for the youth anglers. Yeah. We have a youth hog where it's 12-year-old all the way to 18-year-olds. And he won angler of the
Mhm.
year that with his team partner. So he's on fire. I mean, he's won at least 10 tournaments. He's only 15. So it's
He's
pretty
gonna
cool.
have the college coaches coming knocking real soon, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's excited. I'm excited for him.
Yeah,
It's going to be expensive, but
yeah,
but I think he's going to be able to. He's a good speaker as well. So I mean, he's got it all.
that's good. Well, there's so many children of these guys that are out there that are starting to make a name. I mentioned Laker Howell. That guy
Yeah, Lakers.
is an angler, and you know, and of course, you know, Alton Jones Jr. is already there, you know, and
Dude, yeah.
all these guys were little kids back in the day.
Yeah.
And
How about Cal Lane? 18 years
yeah,
old, youngest
yeah,
pro.
that's another name. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty
Pretty
amazing to
awesome.
watch these chips off the old block come along.
Right.
Cool.
Making me
Pretty
feel
cool.
old. Because I remember my very first interview was with you when I first left a tournament out at Okeechobee.
Right, that's a
And I
long
remember,
time
I'll
ago.
never forget talking to you, Keith, because I remember hearing this hissing sound over my shoulder. I looked over, an alligator had its mouth wide open.
That's
And
right.
I almost threw the phone in the water.
You were in the boat. That's right.
Yes, I screamed. I'd never seen, that was my first encounter with an alligator.
we
So
didn't
that's all.
we didn't have video in those days. That would have made a great shot.
I was just sitting there like this. It's like, I guess what is, I was running when you called me. I was running. I saw some birds, you know, so working. So I shut down. I answered your, you know, we did the interview, and I guess I shut down where he was eating, and I didn't see him.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
So,
Hey, Fred, thanks for letting us catch up today. I know you just
yeah,
got back up driving home, and I know you're driving out again tomorrow, but I appreciate you letting us find out about this Black Bass World Championships. Congratulations. And if nothing else, you got a bunch of nice Christmas gifts there to give out behind you. So
right. We got some awesome punch bowls.
lots of punch bowls. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So the Black Bass World Championship, kind of a cool event. You know, it's not something that gets it doesn't get a lot of notoriety. I'm sure it's covered on some network somewhere, but it's not the thing that we hear about all the time in our bass fishing headlines, but still a very cool event. And you can see that the bass fishing is growing around the rest of the world. It clearly is very big in places like Spain and Italy. Of course, Canada, it's very big. But it's really neat to see the number of teams expanding. And I look forward to this event every year because it's just a little bit different. It's just a little bit of a different kind of an event than we're used to seeing. I know the guys that fish for Team USA really, really like being part of that program. And boy, they did a great job this past week. Well, that's going to do it for us in this episode of the Bass Pro Anglers Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. Please subscribe now. Until next time, keep both hands on the wheel. Keep those life vests zipped and clipped. And we will talk to you again very soon. Be safe out there.